Okay, so in this video, I'm just going to show you how to do a scatter plot. And so here I've got age and I've got cholesterol. And again, I'm going to go to insert. Now, anytime you do a correlation, you're going to actually do a scatter plot. You don't do a bar graph, all right? So the correlation is a scatter plot that's used. So we go to insert, and if you notice, you've got these little dots here, and it says insert scatter. So here we're going to go to the very first one. And you notice that it's blank, so I'm like, oh, that doesn't look so good. So one of the things you can do is you can highlight the two columns of data that you want data for and go back to scatter. And now I've got a scatter plot. And so you can do the exact same thing as what we did with the bar graph. You can add axis titles, which is what we want here. And so this one is going to be our cholesterol. Doesn't matter which axis each of these go on. And this one is going to be our age. Okay, so this graph, however, doesn't look so pretty, okay, because I've got all of this space right here, and so I'd like to get rid of the space. And the reason I have this space is because I only have from 20-year-olds to 60-year-olds, and I don't have anybody below 20. But Excel automatically defaults with 0 as the axis, but I don't want to do that. So, and also look at my cholesterol. My axis right here is only really starting at 100, so I can change the axis values here. The other thing I want to do is I want to take out this title because we don't want this title, all right? And so if I click on the axis and then I right click on it, I can format the axis. And you can make a minimum value, and let's do our minimum value here of 20. All right, so if I change my minimum value to 20, I can leave my maximum at 60, that's fine. And then I can close that axis, and now that changes my axis. And I also want to change this axis because I don't need it from 0. Again, I can click on that and then right click on it and format axis. And I'm going to change my minimum value, let's change it to 100. All right, so you can make your graphs look nice and pretty. All right, so there's my graph. Now, the other thing that you do with a scatter plot is you put a trend line. So again, I click on my plus sign and I add a trend line to my data. And so now I've got a nice trend line going on, and this is a positive correlation. So I'm going to copy this. Yeah, so the other thing with APA is, again, you don't have any of these lines. You don't put any grid lines, so I can take my grid lines off and it looks nice and clean just like that. So I'm going to copy and paste this. Let's see, I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it back into my Word document just like we've been doing. And take this down. And let's call this, whoops, undo that. All right. Let's see. Okay, let's call this figure 2, and this is the relationship between age and cholesterol. And we can paste that right there. And if we go back up to our table of figures, it's not going to do anything until we actually label this a caption. So I come back down here and I'm going to call this a caption. So I'm on my home page and I go to caption. Again, I'm going to want to change it. I want to change it back to Times Roman, and I want to make that 12. Okay, so now that's a caption. So when I go up to my table, my list of figures, and I can click on this and go to my references, update my table, entire table, and now I've got figure 2, which is relationship between age and cholesterol.